What's up everybody, Maran here for another My Week With video. So this week I've been driving the 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, and in particular this is the new Willys version, which has been revamped and pumped up here for 2024 as well. So I already spent a full week with a 2021 Wrangler 4xe back whenever these first came out. There's nothing new mechanically here for the most part, at least as far as the 4xe versions goes. So I'm not going to go into all my coverage of the plug-in hybrid powertrain and stuff. And to be perfectly honest, now with the Willys, which has the 33-inch tires now, this doesn't fit in my garage. So there was no way for me to actually plug in this plug-in hybrid during my week that I had with it here, because it just wouldn't fit. And so the only other option would have been to sit at a level 2 charger for 2.5 hours is what it takes to charge up this battery to get you a measly 21 miles of range. Was not worth it. So interestingly, I just kind of decided to see what it's like to drive this as a regular hybrid. Whenever you run out of electric battery or you don't have the ability to plug in, does this still work as just a regular hybrid Wrangler, a very expensive one at that, but how does it actually behave whenever you aren't near a plug? And I'll get into all my powertrain impressions here in a few minutes, but first I want to go over the new things for 2024 for all Wranglers in general. So on the outside, the biggest things here are that you have a new grille now. It's been shortened in order to make room for a winch that you can get on the most off-road ready versions here of the Wrangler, and so that's why they made that change there. They also got rid of the antenna that was a long-standing thing here that people really loved in Wranglers. Got rid of that for one, and the windshield here instead. And so those are the biggest changes here on the outside, very, very minor. On the inside here, the biggest thing is that you get this 12.3-inch touchscreen display now that's standard on every single Wrangler. Now, if you want navigation, which has a really cool built-in trail feature that will actually give you guidance on trails, that is an extra cost option still, and this one, for example, doesn't have that, so I wasn't able to try that out. But, it's just a really nice screen. It's worked well. I'll talk more about that in the interior video, which my wife and I have done a separate video covering the interior. You can go watch that if you want to hear all our thoughts on the 2024 Wrangler interior. But as far as a few of the other changes here for the 4xe version first. Now, the 4xe, the main thing here is that the 4xe powertrain is now available in more trims than it was before. So there's even like a Sport S 4xe version now as well. So you can get more versions now, and that's a nice thing to open it up, make it more affordable for people, and also just give people more options. Unfortunately, you're still stuck with the 4-door version. You can't get a 2-door Wrangler with a 4xe still. We'll see if that ever comes, but you also still can only get it with the automatic, of course, no manual either. But at least there's more trims that offer it, and that's progress nonetheless. Now, as far as the non-4xe versions, there's a few other little changes here, and the first is this Willys package, which applies not only to the 4xe but also to the regular non-4xe Willys versions, and that is that they basically are a $6,000 cheaper Rubicon in some ways. You get the tires and the wheels from the Rubicon, you get the electronic locking limited slip differential from the Rubicon, you of course get the Rubicon's fenders to make room for those bigger tires. It also gets the rock rails from the Rubicon along with its wider stance. But the main concessions here are that you don't get the locking front diff like you get on the Rubicon. You also don't get the Dana 44 rear axle, but you do get the same final drive there in the back, and you also get the same clearances as a Rubicon. So it is kind of like a Rubicon Lite now for this Willys, and it's very cool that they offer this to, just make the Willys version a little more exciting. I also like the new graphics there on the, side of the hood and all that. And, it's a nice package. The only thing I can say about this is this Willys 4xe, which again, you pay a premium here for the 4xe thing, but, for a Willys, which still has cloth seats. Now, I do have like heated steering wheel and heated seats, so I do have some luxury features here, but it's still a cloth seat Wrangler with the plug-in hybrid thing. This one still is over $60,000, and any vehicle that's this expensive with cloth seats just never sits well with me. I complained about the same thing in the Ford Lightning. I've had a 60 grand one of those that also had cloth seats. At a certain price point, they should just throw in leather. It's not that big of an upgrade, from a price standpoint, but from a just niceness standpoint, just to feel like you're not getting ripped off. I mean, there's some people that love cloth seats. That's great. You now have more options to get cloth in these Wranglers, I guess. But 60 grand in a cloth seat vehicle is just kind of crazy still, in my opinion, regardless of what it is. Another upgrade for the non-4xes here is that they have an increased towing capacity here for 2024. They go up to 5,000 pounds for some of the trims, which is certainly a nice improvement. Now, here in the 4xes, they all still are stuck with 3,500 pounds, but still nice that for some of them you get the 5,000 pound tow rating. That's thanks to a full floating rear axle that they've now integrated, which also plays nicer with wheel and tire upgrades and lifts and all that kind of stuff. So, it's a nice improvement there if you're not going for a 4xe version. Just a little side note there, but if you are looking at the 4xe version, unfortunately, you're still stuck with that same tow rating. Two other little things in the 2024 Wranglers that all of them gets as an option, at least. First off, there's a new premium interior package, which gives you extra sound insulation, so it'll be a little quieter in here. This one does not have that, so I wasn't able to sample that either. But one thing that all Wranglers now get for 2024, which is really a big deal in my opinion, is side curtain airbags. They found a way to put them into the roll bars up here, and I'm really happy they did that. I'm not going to go on about Wrangler safety. Most people know it's not the safest car out there. So adding the side curtain airbags is a huge improvement now. It's still not going to be the safest car on the road, but it's progress, it's improvement. It's something they could have ignored. I think most Wrangler buyers probably don't care, honestly. But, I just appreciate that they are still, concerned about safety a little bit here with the Wranglers. Now, as far as the powertrain stuff here in the 4xe version, first off, this one didn't throw a check engine light. The last one I had a check engine light during the week that I had it. This one's been flawless with its performance here this week. And, I think that I don't know if they actually did any changes to the powertrain, to be totally honest, but at least this week my experience was that the powertrain's been a little bit smoother. Before there were some gaps where it was like really taking forever to respond in the prior version, and it just wasn't the most polished setup. This still isn't as good as the better plug-in hybrids out there, but it's better, and I think it is, kind of been smoothed over a little bit so that it just feels a little more refined. At least either that or I just better luck this week than I had a few years ago in the other one. But so that's nice. The one really impressive thing though about the 4xe is even if you don't plug it in, it gives you a cool little trip info thing here of how much of your mileage was done on electricity and how much of it was done with the gas engine. And so over my 100 miles of driving here, 68.3 of those miles were done with gas, but 31.9, basically 32 miles were done electrically with no charge in the battery. So really that just comes down to the regenerative braking. And I do live in a pretty hilly area, so I'm able to get a good amount of regen and get that back into the battery. I did also try out the e-safe feature where you can actually use the motor as a generator, and I built up a few miles of range there just to try out the electric propulsion in the pure EV mode, just to refresh my memory on what that was like from a few years back. So that was bumped a little bit by that. But still, that's only a few miles, and just at the end of the day, I'm doing, roughly a third of my mileage here all on electricity without even plugging it in. And that's unremarkable if you have any kind of other hybrid, vehicle. That's nothing crazy, but it just highlights the fact that, this is also still just a really good hybrid, even whenever you aren't relying on that electric motor to give you the propulsion. And so, and whenever I did sample out the electric motor, it's still, the bottom line with it is it's not enough power to really drive this as a pure EV. It's only 21 miles of range anyway, but even beyond that, it's 134 horsepower from the rear E-motor. And as far as the electric propulsion thing goes, the bottom line here is it's still just not enough power, in my opinion. This thing weighs over 5,000 pounds, and 134 horsepower is all you have from the electric motor there to give you that propulsion. That's not enough to do respectable driving. And even whenever I was really trying to baby it, it was like, nope, gotta kick on the gas engine, like, can't do it. And so it's just not not the best setup. The best plug-in hybrids out there, you can drive them as pure EVs. They can do full highway merges, at respectable accelerations and stuff, and be totally good. Not the case here with this. I feel like the 21 miles of range is one of those things where you will use it up fairly quickly, but it'll take you longer than 21 miles to use it up because it'll have to kick on the gas engine and help you out. And this isn't unique to the Jeep. There's even some regular crossover SUVs that happen to do that a lot as well. And so it's just the way it is right now. Maybe someday Jeep will upgrade the plug-in hybrid. It does sound like there will be a plug-in hybrid update that's due for the Wranglers, I believe, in 2025. So someday maybe we'll get some more powerful electric motors. But in the meantime, it's fine. It's great to give you a little bit of extra electric oomph, and that helps to contribute to giving this the best torque rating. This and the 392 V8 version have the identical torque ratings, 470 pound-feet of torque. It's great. I love that extra punch here, and I still think this 4xe version is probably one of my favorite favorite versions of the Wrangler. I still love the 392. That's always going to be my favorite. But outside of that version, I think this one is definitely, just my favorite one because, again, it gives you lots of punch. I like the hybridization, and, I just think it makes a lot of sense to not have 100% of your miles be done with gas if you don't need it to be. So just a little heads up there, if you're someone that, can't plug one of these in, I think it's still a really expensive, heavy, regular hybrid, and you're better served with other things. But if you really want a Wrangler, but you can't plug in, just know that it's not going to be a complete waste if you don't charge the battery up. Now, it's horrible for the battery health to leave it at, a dead battery and all that. So, I mean, there's other caveats there, but, if you really want one of these and you live in an apartment or you street park or something like that, and you're not going to be able to plug it in, it might still be a fun thing and a fun experience if you want a hybrid Wrangler, but don't expect this to be a fully electric Wrangler. It's far from it, even whenever you do have the battery fully charged. And so the last couple of things to mention here, though, the other caveat of the plug-in hybrid here is, the fuel economy. So that is the thing, is whenever you don't have the battery helping you out at all, fuel economy is not great. Now, these are rated at 20 combined. I'm only seeing 17.4. Now, the MPGe rating, if you did actually plug it in every night and, use that 21 miles of range every day, they're quoting, I believe, 64 MPGe, which I think a lot of people have fallen short of that as well. I think even myself in 2021, I think even back then I was seeing something in the 40s for MPGe. That's the problem, is it's just horrible aerodynamics. It's, not set up for any kind of efficiency, especially with these tires now. The Willys tires make it even worse. And then, you're toting around, I think these are like 700 or 800 pounds heavier than a regular Wrangler. It's, this turbo 4-cylinder's got to pull 5,000 pounds, to be getting now 17.5 MPG, it's saying. So a little bit better there, but, just still not great. And so, it's just, that's going to be the downside here is, it's cool to say, hey, I've done 32 miles of my driving electrically, but you're still only getting, 17.4 mpg in reality. So, you're still probably just better off sticking to a pure gas Wrangler if you are unable to plug it in every night. But even if you are able to plug it in every night, the one other caveat here is the price premium. The 4xe is not cost parity with the gas version still, even with the tax credit that these are eligible for many of them. So, the tax credit, it can still, I think, get the $7,500 tax credit here, which is great, but the price premium for these is still over $10,000 compared to a non-4xe version of, similar trims. And so, that's still going to make it tough. And so, like 4xes, for example, even the cheapest 4xe is like just under $52,000 for like a pretty base, Sport S 4xe. You're still looking at, 52 grand, which is a lot. And then, these can go all the way up to, I think, about 70 grand or so if you really load them up and all that. So it's pricey. I mean, but it doesn't seem to stop people, because this is currently the best-selling plug-in hybrid in America, which is really indicative of America, that like the best-selling plug-in hybrid we get is one of the least efficient ones. Part of that is also because these are being forced on many dealers in many states, especially the CARB states and stuff that aren't able to get regular Wranglers in many cases. So, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone wants 4xes, just that's the top-selling plug-in hybrid here in the States, just because of supply issues with all the others, like the RAV4 Prime. They still can't build enough of those, and all these other vehicles, they just can't build enough of them. So I commend Jeep for being able to build enough of these, though, to keep up with that demand. I think that is great that you're giving people that hybrid option, and I'm glad to see that people are going for it, even though there is a price premium there. And so yeah, that's about it as far as all my impressions on the Wrangler 4xe, though. I mean, Wranglers in general, they always have their unique appeal of, being in this vehicle that every time you take it on a drive, it feels like an adventure. It's loud and noisy in here, but the view is fun. It's loose steering. It's, you're just always feeling like you're on an adventure every time you drive a Wrangler. And I think that's one of the big appeals of these, in addition to just the confidence boost of being able to go anywhere, do anything, and even if you never actually do that stuff, just to know that you can, it's a very powerful thing, especially here in America. We love having capability, for things that we don't necessarily actually do in real life. But, it's great, and I know, lots of Wrangler owners do enjoy them off-road, and it's great that, the 4xe is, just as capable off-road as the regular, versions of the Wrangler as well. So yeah, overall, it's been a great week here in the Wrangler 4xe. Be sure to watch the interior review, though, if you want to hear all our thoughts on this interior and how it works as a family vehicle now. But anyway, that's all of my thoughts here on. Let me know your thoughts on the Wrangler in the comments below. Huge thanks to Jeep for providing me here with the 2024 Wrangler 4xe to review for you guys today. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.